Everything seems pretty normal.
Yeah, I'm not
It is a
crazy.
mouse sensitivity issue
So
from Guma.
hopefully will be fixed soon. So looking at the runes, actually, we did get to take a look. I was really curious about what runes the cannon was going to go for. We have seen a variety of different builds for the cannon. 80 cannon has slowly been creeping up. We've seen Conqueror cannon going for a more long-term, like especially into tanks like Cassante, kind of 1v1 build with Riftmaker. But with Ari, looking like Zeus is just going to go for the good old rocket belt into full AP, try and blow your opponents up cannon. One thing that I am somewhat worried about for the T1 composition, if we do get towards the later stages of the game, is that Deft is going to have a ton of agency, right? There is a large amount of short-range blow-up potential, but if Deft can space well in those fights and make the most of his Feather Storms and Blade Callers, I do think that without Gumayushi being fully online, T1 can definitely run into some issues if they overextend. Their single target pick, though, is really, really obnoxious between Charm, Hook, Xin and even the CC that Zeus provides. Can follow up with Chompers as well. There is so many ways for T1 to take a single target and immediately blow them up. And if you take control of the game early on, which T1 generally have been able to do, it makes the game very hard to play out for D+, who have Kana, who's pretty good at face checking brushes and tanking some CC, but just a Cassante alone isn't going to do it.
Very curious about the bottom lane. Might just end up being, a farm fest.
Could be, yeah.
Which, I mean, it's Zyrakan into Jinx, so almost definitely the case. As slowly but surely our bottom lane meta once again returns to just a bit of a farm fest. It's been very active in the beginning of spring here for like the first 7 or 8 weeks, but I feel like now with the Jinx buffs we'll probably return to a bit more of normalcy at the LCK.
It also ties into this game. We had 480 carry events, right? And I wonder whether we're going to see that level of priority, and if we only get these kind of more low-key handshake type bot lanes, if we do keep seeing those bans, or if those bans are eventually going to kind of peter out. Team also really matters in that regard, because we already know how incredibly strong both of these two teams are with Lucianami, for example, a pick that in many other parts of the LCK, or a combo rather, that really has been dropping in priority due to the need to really try and be proactive, and some teams struggling with that a little bit more.
Top lane we really need to take a look at, as Zeus is 6-0 on Cannon. And Cannon has been picked, I believe, a couple of times already here at the LCK. And it's going to be interesting to see how it does do in the top side. Also, Xinjiao making his way for the first time this season, but not the first time, obviously, for Owner, as he is 15-3 on the pick.
Yeah, Xin is a pick that we really haven't seen for quite a while in the meta. It was all the rage last year, but there were continuous set of nerfs, as we will spot Canyon here. Faker with some very early control being set up. And I'm kind of wondering about this Cassante pick, because we can already see that Zeus, as expected this early on, did go for Airy. Although not Scorch, went for Gathering Storm, but just with Airy and Cole this early on, he's still a big threat to Kana. And I think the Cassante might be more of a pick to try and neutralize the pressure in lane, but have a way of removing Zeus from late game situations. The Cassante ult into Cannon, I do think, should provide a high level of safety for Deft in later stage of the game, and maybe that's the main reason why D+ went for it, because the lane thus far not looking too odd. Canyon is going to maybe look for something here. We do see Zeus is aware.
She's got a nice angle, Kellen going in, but this is Zyrakan. Very curious about the top side as well. I say that, but Owner is already down here in bottom lane, essentially, looking for a gank, as, speaking of which, Canyon looks like he is going to go for a back.
Oh, there we go.
Oh boy, here comes T1 once again. Setting up for a 4-man dive, potentially looking for the hook first. He is going to land it straight onto the Xayah, and down he goes. First blood handed over to Faker.
And that is a best case scenario, because we also get the teleport out from Showmaker, right? To try and salvage the play. That didn't end up working out. And now he still has to back, then has to walk back to mid. Great use of prioritization from Faker. And the top side, nothing happened, right? Zeus is fine. Was a Cannon who was full health against the Cassandra with like 20-30%. So I think Canyon saw that and was like, there's no way I'm going to get anything done here. So the top side gank doesn't work out. Faker uses his window, and then you can see there kind of the setup from Owner as well, and starts charging up. But this might not have happened the way it did if not for that hook. Nice hold, right? And as soon as that hits with the flash charm and the CC available from Xin, it's very, very straightforward, very easy.
Yeah.
And very nice early set play here from T1.
I think the setup, a little bit confusing for Deft. There's like so many different ways to get hit by stuff, right? You've got Charm, you've got Xin Zhao just straight up charging onto you, you have a hook, but to be honest, he's got to flash that hook. Yeah. The second like Keria starts charging up, he's got to be ready, and he's got to say, okay, I'm getting out of here. Now, there is a chance that he, if we're giving him the benefit of the doubt, maybe he just tried to save it because he's like, okay, we're going to die anyway. Like, even if I flash, I'll probably just get chased down the lane, something like that. So if we are giving him the benefit of the doubt, perhaps you could look for that angle. But I think if he flashes the hook, especially based on the positioning at T1, he probably lives in that case. But now he'll have flash at least.
Yeah, at the very least, he...
caught in the cage, but Faker is Ahri, so he doesn't really care. As that is a Veigar with a Tear and Merc Treads. It's not going to be doing any damage.
No. Well, he does have Ignite, courtesy of Spellbook.
True.
So that helps a little bit, but not a lot. Owner is a little bit low. Showmaker's just farming up Owner.
Here we go again. Miss on the Sonic Wave as over the wall comes Faker, looking to go onto Canyon here, it looks like, as flash out of Canyon. But look at Showmaker. He is going to get the kill onto Owner, but the roam from the bottom lane comes in. That will be a kill, but Faker looking to go down here. The damage will turn in as Canyon is given over to Guma now as a trade from the bottom lane is happening here in mid. And the chase will continue. Zap going to miss. Skellen's just going to hug the wall here and be able to get away.
Cool. You trade a little bit back there as D+, but you're not going to be happy with that because all the gold goes into Jinx. We see the value of the Ghost come through, and look again, Keria here early on this roam. If they take Owner down a little bit faster, it might be an angle here, and the reason why T1 feels so confident is because Guma and Keria have the prio. So Owner, unfortunately, oversteps. Could have maybe gotten out of there with usage of his flash, but because they know that they are a member up, T1 very happy to go in aggressively here. Gumayushi excited, so nothing to do for Deft and Kellen to try and disengage. And that's already a bounty on the Jinx, and if the Jinx falls really far behind, I think D+ has so many more avenues because it makes it really hard for T1, particularly if Deft can get some items, to get things done. But instead, Guma already has 2 kills, and bot lane is looking rough. Early Mountain Drake, really big as well.
That's going to be pretty nice as a rocket spots Canyon. I don't believe that was the initial idea behind it, as he was just trying to hit Deft, but it's going to keep him safe. Guma can just hug the turret. Currently doesn't have any summoners. And yeah, this is a fantastic start here to the side of T1. They're already up 1,000 gold. They got that first streak. Top lane as well. Zeus is farming it out. He's going to have his call finished very early on, and will be a massive threat once we do have some team fights. Until then, though, there's top lane is the way it is nowadays, Chronicler.
Yeah. It's just top lane. Zeus feeling great though. Just been left alone here, been able to bully Kana, getting close to the call as well. Cash out for that is going to be big. Gonna give T1 even larger gold lead than they already have, as even, our best top laner sometimes misses a cannon. It happens to the best of us.
When you miss cannon and solo queue, just say, well, Zeus missed it that one time.
So, yeah. Well,
I'm just as good as him.
That's...
I mean, you can say it to yourself if you're alone and nobody hears you.
Yeah,
it's okay, and that's...
It's motivational.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, try and build yourself up. I like that.
Here comes Canyon, level 6, red buff, no flash, but could look for the angle anyway. So there's a ward here, knock up onto the cannon. And it doesn't look like they really want to get in there, so... Canyon, did help out in the fight in mid lane, but other than that, has kind of just been farming it out as Lee Sin.
Not been too many angles here, and the Veigar hasn't really made an impact on the map, which is to be expected. But the downside is that, again here, look, Faker roaming towards the bottom half, right? So the Plus need to really respect, and even with respect, I don't know. We do see a lot of pressure come down here with Canyon in the area. They will still be safe, but Hana's gonna be forced to back here, which might mean Zeus is able to pick up a play. And this kind of problem is T1 is continuously pressuring, which makes it really hard for D+ to either retake control with vision and try and look for a play to somewhat equalize. They're just falling further and further behind as more plates go over. Look at that. That's a 1k gold lead in the top lane where nothing has happened. And that was with a counter pick. Like, Kana counter picked.
Yeah. I mean, as you mentioned before, it's not going to be a counter for the lane.
No,
so,
of course.
This is pretty much expected, although 1,000 gold is a lot this early on. Nicole certainly helping in that one. A nice pickup here for the cannon. As outside of that one fight, haven't had too much action since then, just kind of farming it out. We do have Cloud Drake on the way next. And pretty much any strong soul is going to be money for the side of T1 with 2 Drakes potentially under their belts.
Yeah, going to be really big here. If it is a weaker soul, then we'll see how T1 deals with that. Might still prioritize it just to get to Elder, as no Mythic Spikes hit yet here for Guma, even with the extra gold that he was able to get. He'll be up Berserker Greaves.
You know what's interesting? I feel like actually Chemtech Soul in this case is not that bad. Like, it's not as good as some of the other ones, right? But I don't know, like the extra tenacity is going to be great against a lot of the picks on the side of DK, and even for DK on the side of T1. And I can see a lot of fights where people are getting low and having some extra damage in that case.
Yeah, can help a lot. And we try to make sure every trick is appreciated.
Yeah, you know, I just wanted to have this little moment for Chemtech Soul. He never gets to have his moments.
No, and we have a champion for Cloud Soul, obviously. So maybe you can be that.
No, you know, I think I'm just gonna have this one moment and call it a day. I don't think I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go overboard.
Yeah. I think, you know, that's it for me in Chemtech Soul. That was my one day. As Kana himself did miss a cannon, so maybe next time you miss a cannon, you can also say, I'm also as good as Kana. As he's really struggling here. This is not a very fun time, even under turret, just getting harassed. This proto-bout already finished for Zeus.
And again, we have the move towards the bottom half of the map here. Faker and Owner don't even need to actually go for a play, right? Just threatening by itself is enough to maybe get them some controls. I think Showmaker will finish his Rod of Ages here. That is a big spike. But it's still going to be a fair amount of time before this Veigar is actually going to be able to substantially threaten people like Faker, Owner, and Zeus. Kraken done now as well for Gumayushi, so the second Drake might be very hard to fight for, because the bot lane of D+ hasn't backed yet. That's a pretty big spike to be behind, although Canyon did pick up his Gore Drinker, and Showmaker also coming off a fresh base. I'm going to take control of the river here.
Yeah. Faker picking up Exhaust as the hook gonna land here onto the Rakan. Ignite in as they back away, and Kellen goes straight into a charm. As here is the Exhaust. Owner, though, has the Crescent Guard, but still, inside of it, is going to get taken out. Showmaker and depth extremely low, but Faker has to go into a stopwatch and will actually elect to flash in the face of 3 members of DK, who will, at the end of the day, win the fight.
And that's a big moment. That was the type of equalizing play you're looking for. Now, while that fight went very well, do also note that Guma was just in bot lane, farming up. And that is the reason why you see, when you look at the gold, hasn't actually changed that much. It's still a 2k lead for T1. D+ are trying to settle the Baron here. Showmaker will know now.
Yeah, TP coming in, Carriot in a very awkward spot, is just going to Hex Splash over the wall, say goodbye. I do not care about any of you. Zeus looking to get in there, but yeah, they're just disengaging. So T1, they just pick up the dragon anyway.
They still get the dragon. As hey, there we are.
Hey. Nice.
Chemtech coming through.
Chemtech Soul, love it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go in too deep on that one, but this starts off with Callan getting tagged and then kind of catching the rest of T1 off guard. And even though he goes down immediately and it looks like a big risk initially, I think Canyon gets exhausted there, but he doesn't really care. All he cares
傷害唔夠，佢哋冇海狼又冇跟羅斯嘅時候，佢哋呢幾隻已經冇傷害。啲小團戰彈嚟，太刮痧壓力，佢哋傷害唔夠，其實佢哋。我覺得個捱呢個 pick，睇唔出有咩作用。
Because of Carrier drawing attention and Showmaker being low, they still didn't lose the Dragon.
Yeah.
Even after all that?
Somehow just able to teleport back in and make it work. Showmaker did hang on to his stopwatch, whereas Faker did have to use his in the last fight. If you ever had a question about what the best item in the game is, just look at Showmaker and Faker. Both picking that up either in runes or in general.
睇下跟柯斯後期打到幾多作用出嚟咯，其實基本都係咁。T1 要贏就係靠跟柯斯，或者唔知海狼唔知點樣神奇。不過海狼個進場都會有少少俾個人坍塌咁上。維加已經咁撚勁嘅，點解咧？突然間覺得好似佢坍塌晒咗，有維異嘅咁感覺，係咪我唔會？
As good as I think the D-Boss composition is, if Jinx isn't online, if Jinx is like, how are you actually going to kill Guma here? Like, what are your ways? Because barring a great Cassante flank, Canyon or Kana taking Guma and literally shoving her into the rest of the team, maybe aided by Callan.
哇！炮車
I think it's really hard.
減幾多啊？減4啊？減3啊？唔知佢加幾多魔攻唔知佢。
Blue buff.
Ah!
Very sad. Yeah.
Sad moment for any mid laner.
Okay.
Knows that feeling.
Yeah, pretty rough.
Showmaker 好似啊唔打喺狀態喎。
Already taking 2 turrets relatively early on in the game here.
哇！咁惡死大佬，食個隻雀都要肥蕉大嘅過嚟偷。原來係咁玩遊戲，原來係。 對方減少幾廿蚊嘅時候，就係我增加幾廿蚊。哇！不過唔會有咩事發生。哦，佢出呢個。
proactive charms, okay? And everybody kind of followed suit, but Faker does it best.
女面紗有個泡泡喺度，呢個就係佢簡單維加嘅方法。唔穩定啫，怪怪地睇落去。
Yeah,
right. Like try and use the spell shields to look for offensive hooks. Also into Veigar Cage, I think it does give you a ton more playmaking potential if you can negate that. Also as cleanse right now, so really going on that. One of the downsides is that if they don't find one person, barring a flank, they can run into some issues as Canyon goes in.
做咩事？發生咩事？點解佢要咁做？點解佢要？ 哇！歐娜啊！哎呀，可惜，差啲歐娜擋咗前啲人已經。係啊，可惜，佢哋冇嗰邊視嘅，佢哋冇。喂，呢波有啲大。好啦，就死。啊，歐娜已經有啲大技擋咗前啲人。 佢空兜到過嚟，哇！太高傷害啦，維加。跟住就，哇！咁樣唔使死，飛嚟飛去喎。我諗住話係同線。
these are the type of moments that D Plus is going to have to keep looking for if they truly want to take back control. One more Drake. T1 is sitting on sword point here, and there you can see. I do think that finding these.
但係仲係 T1 領先嘅經濟，點解會咁咧？我唔理解。可能
But it does mean that the flash is down for Callan here. Gumayushi still has his.
我都唔知點解，睇唔明。
Look at the attention being shown to the Chemtech Drakes. Gotta love it.
可能咧，可能得唔到靚位啊，可能要得靚位喎，好難進入喎，真係。佢入唔到靚位喎，佢俾人及住咗，人哋已經知道佢嗰度。係咯，入唔到場。啲視野全部都係南方視野，覺得。如果右邊冇乜優勢嘅話，會越嚟越難贏。
Showmaker moving forward, and also good job there of them keeping track of Zeus, particularly with this map and the Mega Blast Cones. Like, Cannon can Mega Blast Cone right into your backline. He has Flash available and Rocket Belt, so that's not a combo that you can disregard. So well done there. Get themselves the Dragon, and there it is, the Cosmic Drive done here now for Zeus.
好似唔太識用兵喎，阿蘇美卡，我咪㗎。
Here, Valdez. Both teams seemingly evenly matched. Although T1, as mentioned, once Guma gets to a third item, that is going to change some things. Jinx is one of the few AD carries that didn't really benefit from the changes to IE and Navori, just because of how her kit functions, how she really wants to get that that attack speed item, and also the scaling on her Q. So
可能係出嗰個裝咩星界唔知乜嘢。爭少少。
Looks like he might survive. Another hook comes in as Carrier just will not miss these today. Definitely no Featherstorm is going to get Guma excited as he takes down.
哇！
啲
T1 揾機會能力真係強，啲揾機會能力次次都係咁。揾機會能力太強，佢而家亞尼又有出嚟西。其實咁就應該可以揾機會。哇！唔浪費任何一秒時間發育。
It not being insurmountable, like the positioning here from Carrier is such it's a bait, right? Like it's looking like he's going for Canyon, and as a result, Helen and then this hook on death. Crucially, doesn't have his ultimate available, used it just there, and Guma with the flash picks that one up.
呢場贏咗就係 Carry POG 真係。哇！佢係知道弱兇喎。OK， 有隻眼喺嗰度。哇！呢個 Q 10번 K。個節奏突然間快好多。
For D+, they still have that zone and I that we were talking about, but look how far Deft is behind the curve.
我知應該3件套應該。
result of the early attention that T1 played to the bot side of the map, combined with Gumayushi getting kills early on, really makes the Xayah matchup extremely tough as Lord Doms now done.
呢個 Cassandra 基本上冇作用團戰，佢呢啲裝攤唔住傷害，攤唔住，而且打嘅傷害都唔係特別高。
Also going to have less playmaking potential there, and we see D+ opting very heavily into the Merc threats here in an attempt to survive, even if you do get hooked, even if a charm does come through. But as we saw there, not working out.
其實左邊係一個
yes,
it's
ridiculous. Yeah, and there's also like there's so much follow-up. So it becomes so hard to play out 5K Gold League now. Baron Buff still alive for a large amount of time here.
What? Probably not the last
哇！
one to take
俾 cam 住咗。
into a cage. No. What's
中路
going
塔唔要，中路塔。
Kana's pushing bot, and they're like, you know what? They're gonna take mid
中路塔唔要，守個上路二塔啊，真係。
Yeah, if you have bounties, then maybe that works out. Could also be the call that they don't really have a way to try and take down Zeus, who
嗰啲班調好少嘅，根本同冇分別。一塔嘅啲塔嘅班調都好少嘅，啲維加 Q 技。
Don't turn this into meta commentary of top lane, okay? They're relevant. They took down turrets.
Zeus has not been in a
仲係000兩邊上路完全唔同，呢個遊戲冇關係嘅。上路仲係000，真係完全同呢個遊戲冇關係，係可能推嘅塔多過左邊上路多幾座塔咁樣咯。其他真係完全冇關係，呢兩邊上路。未參與過呢遊戲25分鐘仲係25分鐘都仲係未玩過遊戲。龍兵遊戲、推塔遊戲。死咗呢個東西，俾人開到呢個位，呢個位閘位打唔贏。唔係喎，點要打贏嘅喂？係啊，你信咁猛小信，瘋狂向前咯，小信。哇！GG 哇嚇！左邊咁樣就死晒，咁樣就輸咗啦！哇！咁樣就輸咗啦，左邊完全係唔知點解輸。佢哋開得好靚已經，我覺得開得出到對面最重要嘅 ADC。哇！個團戰咁樣求其打完咗。跟住當時俾人捉咗都算打完，即係趙信戰鬥力好高，啱啱見到佢係咁向前。POG carry 啊 ，POG。兩邊上路龍兵弄到最後就係打一場團戰就完咗咯。你 Kenna 完全冇玩過遊戲，完全。成個遊戲個勝負根本就唔關 Kenna 事。呢個。POG carry 啊。鬥魚你睇佢個膊頭佢手臂有鬥魚到嘅嚇，咁偏難咯。哇！右邊先係咁平均，即係代表5個選手都咁強，即係代表5個選手都冇人係喺度渾水摸魚，5個都係喺度 carry 嘅，都係5個都係出嚟同你 carry 遊戲，呢個代表嘅。冇人渾水摸魚啊！佢生第打幾多歲出嚟睇下先，4.2K 可以啦。佢團戰點解冇得打贏咗㗎？睇下先。團戰，基諾斯俾人縮咗，我仲諗住會打唔贏添。哇！趙信次大技都難咗第一下攻勢。哇！呢個生弟打得好好啊，點解打輸嘅？睇唔明嘅，點解 Def 會俾隻西嚟西追住 A 死咗嘅？啊！西嚟西單殺咗佢原來。西嚟西原來單殺咗一隻 ADC， 後尾未必完全單殺，但係就半血，但係就咁 A 死咗佢，開咗大技再加點燃。哎呀！然之後我 Def 連個閃面都冇開到出嚟，就咁俾隻西人西搞死咗。好奇怪點解佢死咗？佢呢啲輸出冇打過就死咗咯，真係。哇！趙信好慢，趙信。佢左邊就3v4打贏咗。奇怪，其實佢哋玩得好靚喎，真係。嗱，首先第一步捉咗根羅斯最關鍵嘅人，秒殺咗佢。趙信玩得好，呢個條件真係。 佢可能進場嘅時候，卡桑蒂已經第一時間帶走咗佢啦。Showmaker 狀態好 ，Showmaker 狀態，然後就死咗啦。左邊根本上好幾個人都遊魂緊喺度 ，Showmaker 同 ADC 都喺度遊魂緊根本上。其他右邊4條都係 carry 緊 ，carry 話自己一個殺咗啲 ADC， 真係誰能估到真係係啊！有啲誇張，有啲誇張。